All right. So for those of you on the call, please be sure to mute your devices while not speaking. Calling to order the NECAT board meeting of the November 24th, 2020. Out of an abundance of caution and pursuant to recommendations from federal, state, and local health agencies regarding avoiding group gatherings due to the COVID-19 coronavirus, this meeting is a teleconference meeting. Advanced public comments have been possible through email and will be read or played at the time of the relevant agenda item. I'll now take a roll call of board members in attendance. When I say your name, please say present. Shawnalyn Brandmeier.
Present.
Shayla Paz.
Present.
Aisha Labala.
Present.
Brian Mansfield.
Present.
Brian Rossman.
Present.
Dana Schroering.
Present.
And also Chris Singleton.
Present.
I will now state the names of the other people in attendance, and you can just say present when I name you. Cameron McCaslin.
Present.
And Rachel Kenyon.
Hi.
Okay. So the board must vote on the record that the COVID-19 pandemic requires us to hold a telephonic meeting as permitted under the governor's executive order number 16. Do I have a motion to hold an electronic meeting?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, and Brian, all in favor, say yay.
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 Opposed? None. Passes in record. Okay, all those in favor of holding an electronic meeting, say yay.
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 Opposed?
Yay.
I'm sorry, I
Yay.
did it wrong. That was to the motion to suspend. I needed a motion to suspend the rules in order to hold an electronic meeting.
So moved.
So moved.
There you go. Now, can I have all those in favor say yay?
Yay.
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 And opposed? No. Okay, we are officially having an electronic meeting for today, November 24th, 2020. Happy end of November. Happy early Thanksgiving. First order of business will be to look at the minutes for the October meeting that was in the email I sent out. If you haven't had a chance to review them, please do so now. If everyone's had a chance to look at them, we will take a motion to approve into record.
I move to approve the minutes.
All right,
I
motion.
second.
Second.
Shayla seconds. All in favor say yay.
Yay.
Yay. Yay.
Any opposed? All right. Minutes move into record. All right, so now the financials. Also in your packet were two different documents, one for the month of October, one for the fiscal year running through October. Rachel, anything to comment on either one of those financial documents? Rachel, I don't know if she's on mute. Yeah, Rachel's on mute.
Yeah, she's on mute.
There we go. Nothing unusual, exactly the same as the last several months.
Okay. We'll go into a little bit more detail, I think here. I mean, did you send over something to myself?
Yeah, so I sent a little summary just to, the cash in the bank is approximately $18,000. That does not include the $2,500 that we're setting aside. It's earmarked. And that propels us through March, certainly with no other income, and that's about it. But we are going to have other income, I feel confident. So.
And we'll get into this too, as far as like things that are outstanding, both the discretionary community foundation fund, as well as this new Metro approved CARES funds for Nashville Arts, which we have yet to apply for because there's no application that has been submitted or been dispersed yet. But given all that, looking at the financials, if everyone has a chance to take a look at it, any questions or comments on that? And if there aren't any, then I would ask for a motion to approve.
Did we ever receive the funds from the fundraising on Facebook, the 350 something?
Those,
That's what I was about to mention. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Have we downloaded anything from the GoFundMe page yet?
so that should be dispersed to our PayPal account. I'm not sure how long it takes to do that. I'm not sure, Rachel, if you've seen anything come through on that.
As of the October 31st, and while you guys are chatting about other things, I'm glad to log on and see if anything's come recently.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions of the financials?
I don't have any questions.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve into record?
So moved.
I
Seconded.
second.
Shayla, all in favor, say yay.
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 Opposed? No, all right, into record. All right, now going to the agenda. Let's see here. So some updates. First and foremost, I want to congratulate our new secretary, Dana Shoring, as well as our chair-elect, Shayla Paz from last meeting. Very, very excited. As a reminder, in February, I finished my second consecutive 3-year term. I officially roll off the board. There will be, there's already a current open spot from Caroline from May. That'll leave mine open. Joe Woolley will also be rolling off. He had a full and a partial. I don't know if they would have, I don't think he would be able to renew with only a partial because they're signed up for 3-year terms. And then Aisha, yours runs out as well. So hopefully if you are interested, you'll be able to renew, but this is up to obviously the mayor's office. So we have potential of 3, if not 4, depending, empty board positions. So an update, finally got some communication back from the third-party company that Ascend Federal Credit Union is using for their PPP forgiveness. Actually, right before this meeting, there is a portal, which Cam, I might need you to do since it's your email on the application. And then get me listed as another contact as we need to get this pretty much put to bed. Rachel, thank you for all the early work and legwork on getting the easy forms filled out. So hopefully that'll be relatively easy and get that off our plates. Giving Tuesday is next Tuesday, 12/1. Our community foundation page is updated, ready to go for that. We have news about a Metro Council approving $2 million in the CARES fund, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, for Nashville arts, specifically for Nashville arts and culture nonprofits. If ever there was a application that we are 100% suited for, it's this. I've submitted out my email to get the application as soon as the program requirements are approved by the council in Metro, that is over the oversight committee that's doing this. So I'm not sure when that's coming down. I don't know when those will be due. There's been very little information except for signing up, say that you want to receive information on it. So hopefully that'll come before too long and we can get that application sent in. Similarly, as mentioned last month, the Community Foundation Discretionary Fund, which we submitted for a grant of $4,750, will be determined by mid-January. That's for the virtual online learning classes that we were looking to do in various forms of both TV and film production. Again, hopefully that will be approved. And also, in addition, there is going to be the next 2021 Predators Foundation grant application due by mid-January. Currently, we have until, I believe, the end of March to fulfill the actual approved funds that we have in place, the $2,500 for what was initially requested for TV camp, which I think we're going to modify somewhat, and we'll let Cam discuss that in his portion, but we will be asking for more this year from them. I think there's an opportunity to get more, both students and kind of expand what we're looking for from them. And if so approved, that money would come sometime in April, early May. So a lot of things going on. In addition, we have our Feel Good Fridays, and Shonalyn, I'm going to pass it over to you for an update on those, if you don't mind, to give us an update on where we're at.
Sure. So we are scheduled out until almost February for Feel Good Fridays. So I think we are finally, and Cameron, let me know if you feel this too, it's starting to have a rhythm to it. We're getting there. I mean, the beginnings of this are always going to be clunky as we figure it out, but I think we're getting to a point where it's starting to have a rhythm to it. But coming up, just because we are getting close to the holidays, we've got a few that are really exciting coming up. And so I want to go ahead and get December and the beginning of January recorded, the graphics we need for it, and hopefully, Cameron, we can get them to give us whatever else they would like for us to air those weeks. So I'd like to get that all done by mid-December. That way, when we get to the holidays, we have everything we need and we're good. So coming up December 4th, we have the Pencil Foundation. They're really excited. We're going to record that on December 1st. I didn't know if any other board members were available. We're going to do that at 11. If anybody else would like to do that with me, that would be great. I'll also email all of this out with the dates and times so you have them. The next one, which is really exciting, is the Nashville Ballet. They will be December 11th. So their material will air the week of Christmas and those performances. So that might be really good for those that are at home and that kind of thing for the holidays. For that one, we've got some times that they're available December 2nd from 11:30 to 2 or 3:30 to 6. So if anybody else would like to be on that recording, let me know if any of those times work for you. I will email all this out to the board so you have it. Then coming on the 18th is the Nashville Shakespeare Festival. I don't have a time on that one yet, but we are talking about that same week of going ahead and recording those three so we have them ready to go. But we'll also need the social media graphics to go along with that. And then coming up in January, the first couple of ones, the first one on January 8th is Gideon's Army. So I'm going to reach out to them and see if we can go ahead and get that recorded. And then January 15th is Corner to Corner. So those are the next 5. And then we have coming after that is Legal Aid, TPAC, and then some others after that. So it's really exciting. A lot of people have reached out. We have more to reach out to. I just haven't started scheduling those yet because we're already into February, March. I will say January for me is a really busy time at work, January and February. So if anybody would like to help out with that, I would love to have some assistance on helping out with scheduling these. It's a good problem to have, but I'm just looking ahead at the schedule of what's coming up and might need some hands to help out.
Can I add two things? Oh, go ahead.
You can get me ahead all the logos so you can get them to send you that ahead of time. Yeah. I can get all of them done the same day and send it to you and Cam so that you have it. So I don't have it at the last minute.
All right, I will. I'll reach out to. I think I have pencils, and then I'll get the ones coming up. I'll just go ahead and ask all of them for it and send them all to you at once. That way you have them.
Great. And we reach out to the Nashville Zoo, and unfortunately they can participate. So
right.
That was good.
Yeah.
I just want to add to that. I think this has been a wonderful program so far. Working forward, it's best, and just to say it out loud so everyone knows, if as we're putting these together, if we can get it done a week ahead of time from when it's going to air, it helps. Just that way we're not scrambling at the last minute to get it all put together to get it to Friday. Just because I don't always know what Tim and Adam's schedule is going to be like, and if someone is on vacation or something like that,
right.
it all gets done, but we don't want to put any extra pressure on the Metro employees to be hanging around late to try to, get it into those places. Outside of that,
well, and that's why I'm hoping we can get. That's why I'm hoping we can get these next 4 or 5 in the books and get them ready, and then everybody knows. And then when we come back from the holidays, if we've already scheduled through, say, January 15th, then when we come back from the holidays, we can start working on the 22nd and 29th. We can get in front of it. I think we've got to be able to get a little bit ahead, and then we can just stay ahead.
Yep.
So
I think that's ideal. The other thing is for any of our board members that are making these phone calls and talking, if they're asking about how much time it takes, always allot for at least an hour. I guess, last time they had only allotted for 30 minutes of time to shoot a show that's supposed to be 28 minutes long. And of course it just doesn't work that way all the time. So I would, just let everyone know it's going to take at least an hour whenever they do it, because don't ever expect anyone to know how these things work or how television works in general, because they won't. So we always want to make sure that we're at least asking for an hour of their time to conduct the interview.
And are we having any standard questions for the Feel Good Fridays, or did you just roll with the flow?
I kind of roll. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sean.
we roll with it. Yeah. It
Okay.
depends on what they have going on. I mean, we might ask a general question, but it's really, if they've got some events coming up or something they want to highlight, we spend time talking about those.
Okay.
In the ones I've hosted so far, I have a pretty standard intro that I do as far as introducing the show, introducing everyone on the show. And then the thing that I like to end the show with is asking everyone about one thing that makes them feel good this Friday. That could be anything, that kind of way it gives them a chance to drive home any point that they've already made or talk about something absolutely outside of what we have been talking about. But because whenever you're putting it on a timer, you kind of want to have let everyone know this is basically when we're going to start wrapping up, and you let them know before the recording starts that that's what's going to happen.
I will say that, obviously these things aren't like huge revenue generating. They're kind of more awareness, but I would say that in the conversations, where possible, it's really important, because since a lot of these organizations have kind of a bigger footprint than we might have, to actually, at least message that they're going to be on TV or on at a certain point, just to get some additional awareness, because we haven't really seen much traction on digital for this. So, I mean, that would be my one, and I think in discussion, the thing with the zoo came up where they couldn't do it. I'm not sure if it necessarily needs to be something that is a permanent block if they can't do it. But
Right.
At the same time, I do think that, that is part of it. We are trying to raise funds for both ourselves and the organization, and at the very least, just generate awareness. So it's tough to do these things in a vacuum. It is really, it'd be nice to, I think that they've come out really well, the ones that we've done so far. It'd be just nice to have a few more impressions.
Yeah. And I think as it moves along, then the piece of awareness and the GoFundMe page and that kind of thing will come in time. It's just a little bit slower.
I agree. I mean, like I said, we're not relying on this to save us financially. It's
No.
more of a kind of an interconnection with other nonprofits in the community, and understanding that,
Agreed.
and just, multiple awareness points.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Any other questions about Feel Good Friday? No. Thank you, Shonalyn. Hey, Cam, we're going to jump into your report now.
Sure thing. So we've already talked about Feel Good Friday. I want to talk a little bit about what we kind of have left in place. So one of the things that we were trying to do this year was, in lieu of our regular job shadow program that we usually do with high schools, was do some digital content. We've had a little bit of trouble with that. I've spoke with all of the teachers through email. We because of the way the financial stuff came through, we were a little bit later in the year getting started than we usually are. And into the school year, the teachers, what they have all expressed to me is how far behind a lot of the students are right now with school and just testing and things like that. So the problem we have right now is they're about to start into finals and studying for finals. So they haven't been able to book the day that we need to actually sit down and do what basically amounts to a Q&A session. I have all the teachers basically wanting to move this to January. I have expressed to all of them that for reporting sake, it's better for us if we can do it before the end of the year, but they can't guarantee that. So we're just doing the best we can to get the dates on the books. We had one for this past Friday with McGavick, and something just kind of fell through the cracks because we had talked even earlier in the week. I had kind of lined up, this is what I'm going to do. There was some confusion because they thought we were connected to Rocketown somehow. And after that, I didn't get an email back, and I never got an invite to any digital meeting. And I'm still waiting on a response from that to kind of figure out what had happened. So still waiting on getting all of these scheduled, but I'm talking to all of the different teachers right now. Of course, everyone this week is heading towards vacation, so I don't expect I'll hear anything back until Monday. Maybe we'll have some teachers that check in over the holiday. I'm going to keep my email open just in case. But I'm hoping to at least get one of these done before the end of the year, and the next right after the start, like right to start January. And we're going to let Ascend know, who financed this, kind of what the plan is. I know Tyler has been waiting to make a phone call to them once we had all the dates on the book. So we're working on that right now. The other thing that I've reached out to the teachers about is having their students send in questions that pertain to video production when it comes to sports and hockey specifically, because the thing that we're trying to do for the Nashville Predators is do a virtual meeting, kind of like this one, where we would talk with some members of the Predator staff about their jobs they're working for the hockey team, but have the kids from the different high schools come in and like basically they have already asked a question, so we've pre-filtered all that stuff, and we will call them. I would be moderating it, and call on so and so from this school to ask their question, and we would go that way. Our hope is to have representation from all the schools that we usually sponsor, as well as some other Metro school students. If you guys have kids that that are into that kind of thing, we definitely would love to hear from them. I've talked to Amy over at Able Youth. She's working with some of her kids to come up with some questions. So I've reached out to the Predators about finding a date where Willie Donick and Pete Weber have historically been the ones who have come out to our camp. We're hoping they will also be the one at this event, but I'm trying to figure out a date that works for all of them. And I'm just waiting to hear back from the Predators to say what date, we can go. I'm pretty flexible at this point as far as my afternoons and evenings to make this happen. So as soon as we hear back, I'll just basically disseminate an email to all of you guys. I would love everyone from the board to come on to that, just to be part of the audience at the very least, if you can, and just kind of see what we're putting together. Once we have that taped, we're basically going to take that and cut it together along with some maybe some stuff from last year's camp that we did, and just kind of do a best of kind of highlight reel that'll air on NECAT, as well as go back out through our social media channels and things like that. The Preds have offered basically to let us use those funds, without doing any of this, but we just felt that it was important to, for the sake of our students, if we can, to give them this opportunity, as well as, as we go into the next year in January, again, we're going to be asking for more money back for the next program. We just felt like it was a good foot forward to try and attempt to do something more than just sit on our hands this year. So fingers crossed that all goes well. The only other thing that I really would like to do in December, it's been a couple of months now since we've had a member meeting. We had one, right whenever I started at NECAT, then we've had one this year via Zoom. I think it would be fun to do one in December, do it holiday themed, again, take on all comers as far as, beliefs and all that. But I think it'd be fun just to come on, talk a little bit about what's going on at NECAT, kind of what some of the expectations are. People still are waiting to hear, the number one question they have is, when are we going to be back? And we don't have an exact answer for that. But I think it's important that they're seeing us and hearing from us and letting them know what we're working on and what we're trying to do. We're still getting a lot of great programs in from people that are making stuff at home. We want to encourage them to still do that. So, right now, again, it's just a matter of picking a date. I've reached out to a couple different members about doing some things specifically for, on this, just trying to find a date that works. It would be one evening, probably in the middle of the week, just to make it, make sense for everybody after work or whatever. But if anyone has any suggestions for that, I would love to hear it. The only other things that have really come up in the last couple of weeks, Hands on Nashville, which is a group that we've worked with in the past. We have basically to renew our membership. It's due in the middle of January. There is an invoice there for, I believe, $200. We had talked about last week whenever we had a meeting about some budgetary stuff about maybe reaching out to them and seeing if we could do an in-kind thing like we did with our Nashville before, and maybe see if we could trade it for some space on Feel Good Friday. So we're still working on that to see kind of, what makes sense there. The other thing that came up is our RJ Young contract is up. I sent an email back to them and kind of told them, like, hey, we haven't been in our building in 9 months. We haven't used this copy machine, and we've still been paying for it because we have a contract, but it really doesn't make sense for us to be paying this right now. And what I asked for them is if we could work out some kind of deal where if we, once we come back in, if we were to sign a new contract, if they could just basically give us gratis until then, because really there's no great way for them to get into the building and get their machine back right now anyways. And if we send it back, I don't know what kind of fees there are, for that kind of thing. There's a new salesman that basically we've traded 2 or 3 emails between us right now, and they're trying to work something out that is going to work out for us in a good way. I do believe them when they say this, because I'm certain that they're having this problem all over America right now as people are not working from home and not their office space. So I'll let you guys know whenever I know something, and we'll make a decision on how that needs to go. And if it's something as simple as they say, yeah, don't worry about it, just call us back and renew whenever you can, then we'll go from there. So really don't have anything else to report other than the things that are ahead, which Tyler already mentioned: the Metro Cares Act, filling out the new Predators grant. I did want to report on our Halloween event, which feels like forever ago at this point because we had the meeting right before it happened. But we did the weekend long Dr. Gangrene Marathon. Had a fantastic bunch of hits when it came to social media. People watching it, sending us emails about it, retweeting, things like that. Probably the best social media thing that we've had since we've started here, and so it was really well received. I appreciate everyone who took time to watch it or retweeted something or just put any of that news out there. It was a really good event overall, I thought. So the only other thing, looking down my list here, really just kind of open to questions if anyone has anything for me or if there's anything that I need to know about. I haven't taken any real time off this year. Just to let everyone know, I'm planning on taking the standard week that we usually take between Christmas and New Year's, kind of to myself. And then obviously the next couple of days here at home while my family's here. But I am going to keep my email on in case anything comes up that I need to take care of. But I just kind of want to put that out there since we're not going to be meeting in December, that last week of next month, I am going to be at home and try to be home and disconnected for a couple of days just to kind of get my head straight. So if anyone's got any questions, please feel free.
Couple things, Cam, for back to the MNPS conversation. I think it'd be best, since we've had an email dialogue back and forth with Tiffany, as you draft kind of what you said, like maybe next week after you've had maybe one more conversation with McGavick or whomever, if you actually can get one of the books, and then we let them know. I'm sure they'll be understanding as far as pushing back our deadline as far as deliverables on this program, given everything that's going on with schools, et cetera. That was one. I think also we're at that time now. I think we have to renew our tax certificate. This was the same time last year. So we probably need to check the mail again to make sure nothing's come in or anything has come in case we have to get that out the door, not have any fees, to make sure we can have our tax exemption for 2021.
I will do that on Monday because I don't believe Nashville State is open for the
sometime next week. Yeah, I would think. Yeah. And then lastly, I just sent you a note with this portal. I need you to sign on for this third-party loan source for PPP, and then add me.
Yep, happy to
so we can get that out the door. Any questions
Cameron,
for Cam on other stuff?
On the taxes, you may be able to log on the Secretary of State's website.
Okay.
So.
I will.
And it's in one of those previous letters that you sent me, the login and the password.
Okay.
If you can't find it, let me know.
Okay.
But that way, that might be something we could just go ahead and look at it this week.
Yeah, I'll try to look at that.
They'll put it in the portal. Okay.
Any other questions for Cameron? Nope. Well, moving on. Chris, can you give us any kind of report for the studio or anything else going on?
I can report that the studio is still structurally standing. It's empty. Yeah, I don't know, with the rise in cases and everything kind of rolling back, it's not looking promising here.
No.
We still keep the channels up to date, like Cam said, and anything that we need to do for y'all, we're happy to do. But yeah, this COVID thing has got to go. It's, hopefully we get those vaccines out and get people taken care of so that they can come back in and start, meeting in real time. I know for NECAT, that would be a welcome addition, as it would be for me and my staff over here, because this is frustrating.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. So, I can't even, if it's phase 4 for whatever, I think that springtime was definitely the earliest I think we could even project a reopening date. Oh, Cam, I know you mentioned, does the website have the date did that get revised?
No, I would have to send it directly. It's not the main page, but on one of the side links, there was a date that listed April as a reopen. I don't know if that was something that got held over from last year when we actually first closed. It was whenever we added this, which I should have reported on this past month. We added all of the language as far as like being able to check out cameras, taking them home and using them at home. Whenever I was poking around, kind of seeing like where we were going to make that land, I found it. I'll touch base again with Tim because I know he had done some updates to the website. I'm not sure if that came down or not, but I'll take a peek at it again, and if it's still there, I'll talk with him and we'll get it off this month.
And you bring up a really good point. Has there been any feedback from members about the rental abilities for equipment?
Not that I've heard of, but I'm kind of out of the loop on that one because
so we have somebody coming Wednesday to pick some up.
There you go.
Some equipment. So
yeah, those emails pretty much go directly to the Metro staff just because they're the ones that are going to be handing them off.
And is there a kind of a check and balance as far as make sure that you guys are up on their producer/member fees?
Right now, there's not, because the way that I see it is, since we have been closed, everyone should still be good to go because we are going to be offering that,
right?
That time there, but they are paying the $25 fee that's going in via PayPal.
Got it. Right. Okay. Any other comments either for Chris or Cam on those two topics? No. Okay. It's group discussion time. Last meeting we discussed potential sponsorship programs, reaching out, kind of looking at opportunities and things of what we could offer given this time and finding new different revenue sources. I'm going to go ahead and Dana was kind enough to put this together. And I'm going to share this. Unless you have it, Dana, do you want me to share it, or do you have it ready?
If you could share it, I, for some reason, can't typically share from Zoom.
Okay. I mean, I think I had to let you do it anyway, so let me find it. Let me know if this shows up. Can you all see this?
Do you want to show that, or do you want to show the?
Oh wait, did I hit the wrong one? I hit the wrong one.
Well, yeah, this is the. Yeah, this isn't.
All right. Sorry. Hang on.
You want the one with the map?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hang on. I gotta find that one.
I would like my stellar graphic design to really be on display.
Indeed.
That is a joke. Please, no one take these.
If anyone has it handy before I can pull it up, please do, and I can allow you guys to share. Oh, I found it. Hang on. I just gotta forward it.
It's the one it's version 4.
Yep. It's gonna take me a second here. While we're waiting, once you
yeah, so I think we talked about it a little bit last month, but basically we've been thinking about how we can create a corporate sponsorship packet, something that we can approach different organizations here in Nashville about and give them a different menu of options to partner with NECAT for. So we put together this packet that I think we could really tailor to anyone that we are pitching to. It can post on our website, and we can share it with organizations that we have connections to see if they would like to work with us. So we have come up with 4 different tiers of sponsorships. And we will talk through them, but one, is a higher tier where we could work with a sponsor to really create their own show, their own content, their own event, something that we could really, really work with them on a higher level of production for. So here, okay, so we can talk through the top. So this first page just kind of gives an overview of NECAT, where it reaches, and then there's an overview of our 3 channels, what type of content airs on them, where they air, and then there are hyperlinks to their landing pages on the website. So then you go down, and here's our different partnership opportunities. So the first one that we came up with is a star sponsor, where you can showcase or sponsor your own custom content. So we were thinking if we, partnered with, a music publication company, or I don't know what, but we could produce, maybe a songwriter round, something that's a bigger event that they could sponsor. We would partner with them to produce, and it's content that could, continuously air on NECAT. It could air as one big event, but it could air ongoing. Also, if there was like a show that they wanted to do, that's something that we could work with them on. We put 20,000 plus. I think that we know that television production is not cheap, and that cost, we would have to discuss that cost based on the type of custom content they wanted to produce. And then there's also some bullets of what else would be included in that sponsorship, which would be a 90-second acknowledgement in newsletters, social media, and their employees could also be invited to take our production classes at no cost throughout their sponsorship period. So that's kind of our top tier and could be very customized to any organization. The next is a producer level sponsorship. And this is where a company could show their pre-produced branded content. I was thinking about how, like, when I was at Brookdale, I ran our, I ran our studio production, and we produced several shows. We produced content about how healthy living for seniors. So targeting some companies that perhaps make their own content. I don't know how to turn these notifications off, sorry. Produce their own content that they could repackage appropriately to air on NECAT. Now we know that they would have, there's definitely some stipulations there, hence why there's 2 asterisks in front of branded content, and there's more to come on the last page here. But I know a lot of companies do produce their own content, and there might be an opportunity for them to repackage it for us. And then yet again, there's some bullets of what else would come with that, like a 60-second acknowledgement, and then also mentions in newsletters, social media, and they're also, they also have the opportunity to take production classes. The next level is a film school sponsor. I don't think there should be a plus after that 10,000. I think that's a mistake that I'll fix, but film school sponsor. Basically, we thought maybe an organization would like to underwrite the cost of production classes for a select Middle Tennesseans. So maybe it's kids from a different nonprofit, or students, something that they could underwrite the cost for, but we could also create digital content from the classes. So that could be a workshop, a panel discussion, or an interview. So it could also air on NECAT as sponsored by content. So this really ties back to our mission and is very, NECAT centric in terms of also educating people on how to create TV. And then yet again, there's the bullet points of a 30-second acknowledgement. You can see that the time decreases based on the amount of money people are spending with us. Mentioned in NECAT newsletters, social media, and then also have the option to take the production classes too. And then director sponsor is 5,000, and that's the simplest sponsorship. And basically an organization would sponsor a NECAT channel. They would have mentions, 30-second acknowledgements, also acknowledgement in newsletters, social media, and the availability to take production classes. This would basically be, in terms of NECAT, more like PSA, but promos that just run on one of our channels for a set amount of time. They aren't sponsoring any specific content, but just sponsoring NECAT in general. So those are the 4 tiers that we developed. And then the last page is some do's and don'ts for branded content. And this kind of goes back to what we were saying about it can't be, there can't be a call to action. It can't, be an overt advertisement for the company, but more content marketing in general. And also the disclaimer that all content must be reviewed and approved by NECAT. So this is a discussion we would have with any corporate sponsor who wanted to go the branded content route. You know, here's some disclaimers, but also knowing that we would have to review and approve it. And below that is our contact info.
All right. Thank you so much for this, Dana. So we wanted to present this to everybody for comments, suggestions, revisions. I mean, obviously this is not set in stone. This is something that we've, you know, a handful of us worked on, and we want to open it up to everybody to make sure everyone, the whole board is okay with this moving forward. And then I would expect we would have some additional smaller breakout meeting in the weeks to come to look at targets, potential corporate targets, and other people we could go try to solicit some of these programs too. So with that, I open it up. I know Shayla, you had some comments. Anyone have any comments or suggestions about this format? What do you like? What don't you like, etc.?
Dana, you did an amazing job. Let me tell you, that was great. Thank you so much. And I love the graphics and everything is gonna go with the NECAT overall look. So it's fantastic. The director word at the end on contact is, there is a misspelling there. So I thought that the sponsor of a channel should be at the top for the star sponsor because it's such a big amount. I think that they should be a sponsor of the channel instead of the 5,000. You follow me?
Say that again, the star sponsor?
Yeah, at the,
This one here?
yeah, the 5,000, yeah.
Oh,
The
5,000.
5,000, it says here, a sponsor a NECAT channel for a year. I think it should be the top, the start, instead of being the bottom. Because it seems like it's a bigger ask to sponsor a channel to be for so little money.
So you think maybe it should make, so maybe the director sponsor, maybe it should be less than a year if they do 5,000, but maybe included in, if they want to do it for a year, include that in the actual star sponsor.
The star sponsor, yeah. So because it's so much money, they could be a sponsor of a channel. And then is the 5,000 a year, a month? What is the amount of time for that?
You know, it's funny because we took this from, as part of the Community Foundation's, the Giving Matters site. You know, Trish had put this on there originally for sponsoring, you know, multiple sponsorships of channels throughout the year. It was higher. I think it was like either 10 or 15,000 for the year. So maybe, I think maybe there's a, to your point, that gets part of the big package, but also maybe for a director sponsor, maybe it's not a year, maybe it's for a quarter, or maybe it's for a couple months.
Because it's such a little money for such a big ask, you know, so I think it should be like a lesser for a quarter, maybe 5,000 for a quarter, and that way they know, oh, I got 3 months of, you know, supporting NECAT, and we can showcase our content there or whatever.
So they can't, so that's the stipulation. So that is the difference between, and this is up for debate, but just so you get the, so I explained the train of thought there, is the director sponsor, there is no content sponsorship with it. It's just simply throw my
Logo up, yeah.
Throw my logo up and say I'm a sponsor. So I think a quarter does make sense for that amount of money, but the director sponsor is just saying, like, we don't want to deal with content. We don't have any content that we can offer. We don't have any that we want to produce, but sure, we'll help you out. Just give us an acknowledgement and we'll call it a day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I do think that it makes sense that this star sponsorship, sure, let's toss in, you'll get, and maybe it's even across all 3 channels or whatever channels we can give them, that they can have that 90-second acknowledgement run for a year on all 3 channels.
I think that makes sense.
But then the $5,000 is just throw my name up there, say we helped out, call it a day.
Okay, sounds good. So I just want to make sure that we don't throw more load into Cam's shoulder. So who will be producing all these commercials or production? Can we get some members involved in the production?
Yes.
I think it would have to be that. I mean, the difference is if you say, hey, there's no money coming in and we need to produce this content, then I'm doing all of that and this other. If someone gives us $20,000, we can not only make time for that, but if we needed to hire someone to come in to just help produce just that piece of content, I have a literal, black book full of people I can hire to do all that kind of stuff at a minimal cost. Who some of them would obviously do it in kind, but there's ways to work with that when there's actually money to spend as opposed to, figuring it out from home by myself on my phone. So,
Yeah.
but I really do think, and I've expressed this to just about everyone here at one point or another, I think, but I do think that the way forward is content. That we have to have content on the channel people are willing to watch before people want to sponsor it. And while access is important and it is, we need to always have space for everyone to do exactly what they want to do. We also need to be developing our own programming that isn't, what we have made in the past has been good, but we need different types of stuff. I've talked, about health, stuff when it comes to cooking shows, exercise shows, music-based shows, all those types of things. That is the way forward for NECAT. If we keep doing what we have been doing for the last few years, we're going to be in the same situation. We have to find new ways to do stuff, develop documentaries and things like that. I think that's what, when it comes to a lot of these big corporations, that's what they're going to be interested in sponsoring. We have to be able to not only say, hey, give us money for an idea we don't have. We're going to have to come up with specific programs. I think the way forward is not to come up with ongoing shows, not to say that we couldn't have some of those, but I think some of it is just doing one-off specials. If we have a music program that's going to be a one-night songwriters thing that someone can sponsor, that's great. If we do a documentary that someone can sponsor, I think that's great. If we have a weekly show like Feel Good Friday or like an exercise show that, comes on every morning for people to work out with, I think that would be good too. I do think that that's the path forward. I think ultimately that's where we're going to be. And honestly, I want to get to a point where I'm not the only employee working for NECAT. I want to be making, that we're making enough money come in that there can be some more help there. It's a weird year, obviously. We're not there yet, but I think this is a great first step forward. I love everything about what this looks like. I think is great. And I think we can really win with this thing.
Also, I'm sorry, I have a lot of notes. so I try to make this a really good package that they cannot even think about saying no. They will say yes, So what in the this can be episodic or one-time event. Can we pick one option for them? So instead of being, oh, you can do this or that, make it more like in that second line, this can be an episodic or a one-time event.
So I think our train of thought there, and this is where I think we would have to edit this and really customize it to whoever we're pitching to. But what we had discussed is, say a one-time event could be like a songwriters round, could be like an award ceremony, could be a film festival, something that's like, okay, we want to make this an event that we package for TV. It airs on NECAT. Now it could re-air, for whatever time period we specify. But then episodic is, say they want to do a weekly talk show. Say they want to do, an ongoing panel that maybe it's a healthcare company and they want to do a panel once a week that discusses healthcare issues, or it's a fitness show or a cooking show. So I hesitate, and this is up for debate, but I hesitate to pigeonhole it in a pitch, because what we're saying is, what kind of content do you want to produce? It's up for interpretation. Do you want a show? Do you want an event? Do you want, so that's
in that case, I think that we need to have a list. This is the kind of content that we can have on the station, so they are clear of the kind of content that we have and the guidelines that we need to follow. So in that way they can say, okay, you can pick from these options. And also on a sponsorship, cost will vary depending on production. What does that mean?
Well, it means, to Cam's point, how much production do we need to put into it? That's why there's a plus beside the 20, is that this would have to be customized to what it is they want to produce, because there may be a crew involved. We may have to hire talent. We may need to license music. I mean, I don't know what, but that's why I want a disclaimer in there that 20%, that $20,000 is not set in stone, that we would have to do a cost analysis of the production, and know that whatever the sponsorship is, that we can cover that, and then also we're making money off of it.
Yeah,
So
and that makes sense. And in that case, we need to have a separate sheet with those costs. So when they say, so what is the cost of production? And then we have X, Y, Z, and this will cost you this much extra.
I agree with that to a point, but I think, the thing about this initial sheet has to be if you walk into the room and you have a basic 2 or 3 page outline and someone can look at it and say, this is what it is. But I think from that point, if they say, hey, yeah, I think we're in for this much, then at that point, we have to work out a separate pitch document. It's the same. I mean, so I know for me, it's like anything that I ever make, it's like I kind of have an initial, this is what is going to cost me that I think it's going to be, but I'm going to tailor that to each person that I go talk to about that money.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Document over and over and over again. That's what this is going to have to be too. So we need the initial sheet, which I think is what this is. And once we kind of have a list of who we're going to talk to, we need to kind of, touch up on that and kind of really design it more towards what they're looking for, and be open to the idea if they say, well, we don't really want to do that, but we have this idea. What would that cost? And, I do think it's a good idea to kind of say, hey, here's some cornerstone things that we've had in the past, few years when it comes to talk about the film festival, talk about our Nashville, talk about Feel Good Friday, any of the shows, even we've done the concert series before in the past with, all of that stuff, kind of outline it and say, here's things we've made in the past that are, typical, but here's also some things that we're going towards, because we're going to come up with new ideas. And as we come up with those new ideas, we're going to have to be able to, to go look for a sponsor that makes sense for that idea.
And I think to me, that's a separate sheet. That's a 1-pager about NECAT, and has hyperlinks to the page. It's like, here's a splashy, leave behind 1-pager of NECAT, I can't think of the word, but like our showcase, the things that we're really proud of, the things that we can produce. That's a little bit separate from this. I think they go hand in hand. I think you take them both when you're pitching, but I don't think we get that weedy in this document. It's more of like, here's the tiers that we can offer, and then we can drill down on the pitch on what we can provide for that, what we can do for that organization, And I think that's also, like I said, that's where that has to be tailored. Like, to me, this is, you put it on your website. We have this as a guideline. We can share it with folks, but once we know what it is we want to do, or we have a bite from somebody, then we tailor it.
Yeah, perfect. So also on the film school sponsor, for how long is that 10,000 for a specific program, and which program? We need to define that. For how long is that 10,000? If it's the program with the kids, with the schools, that's the whole program right there.
Right. I think for that, it's just a matter of like, they're sponsoring one particular group that would be coming in for that. I mean, it's for the, we have monthly classes all the time, and they would be a sponsor for that. I think the other thing we have to think about is, because we are a nonprofit, all of this is a tax write-off for them. And so I don't know, it's like a lot of times they're going to want to pay one time for the year, and that's the tax write-off for them. They're not going to want us to come back to them 2 or 3 times a year. So it is good to kind of figure out like, hey, this is what the length of time that you're going to be able to do this for is. But I think at the end of the year, we're going to shout out to all of those people who have helped throughout the year. And again, like, whenever there's only one person doing all of that, it does help if we're only, if we're only making that one time, as opposed to going like, okay, well, we got to pull these off and put these guys on, et cetera, et cetera. It's a lot harder to pull people off every 3 months than it is to say, this is good for a year. It's a lot. It's just more work. It's like it's 4 more times that we have to go back in and edit footage. So
yeah, that's true.
Something to consider.
And once we get all these sponsors, I don't know if it's possible or not, but just a suggestion, can the logos be added to the website saying NECAT is sponsored by and have all the logos listed?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, so then add that to the package.
I mean, I think, the website is good, but I think the social media impressions is what people are more worried about these days.
Yeah,
Because people aren't hanging out on the NECAT website. They're hanging out on Instagram and Facebook.
true.
No, but they do like to see it, and it's an.
Oh, yeah,
easy-
for sure.
I mean, so many, they want a report back saying, where is it? So you can say, here's a link to our website and here's your logo. So yeah, no, it's a good point. We can just put a bar on the bottom of the website that's like sponsored by.
Yeah.
That's all I got, guys. So
That's good. No, thank you. Brian Rossman or Brian Mansfield or Aisha, anybody have any other comments or questions or suggestions?
Hey, just as a side note, guys, I'm right now composing an email, but I guess back and forth with the lady who's in charge of filling the board positions. So,
Okay.
And they just asked some preliminary questions about, they know that Caroline's gone. And I said, yep, that's the term I was talking about. They see that Mr. Pittman is Shoring. I don't know how you say your last name. Sorry.
Shoring, it's okay.
Shoring. Joe and Aisha are all, their terms are coming up. They want to know if anybody of those group are interested in being reappointed. So you don't have to answer here. You can just send me an email after. It's chris.singleton@nashville.gov. And then one of the questions they said, what's the biggest skill or diversity needed on this board? And I said, the biggest skill set needed on this board is someone that can that has experience and can assist with grant writing. Is that a fair statement? Anything else that I should?
Grant writing and fundraising in general, for sure.
Yes, that's number one. I mean, it'd be great if we have, that is number one for sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm sending this off. So Ashley left and she put this lady in charge of this. And then I've reached out to this lady, didn't hear anything back. So I reached out to her again just now and it's being passed to someone else. So yeah, it's hot potato right now. So I've got them.
It's not Ashley who does, it's not who?
Ashley left. She went to the state. She's doing something with the state now.
Oh.
When she left, she handed her duties off to Miss Copeland, and now it's Miss Lake. So
Okay.
I'm just wanted to clue you all in on that and let everybody know.
Hey, can I say there too, if there's any board members who know of someone that fits that role, good to make that suggestion to them. We don't get to pick it, obviously.
That's right.
That's a really good point because the
Good point.
last question they said is, do I have any recommendations for the openings?
So if you guys know of anyone who lives in Davidson County who fits that bill, or anyone who might be interested in what we're doing, TV, film stuff, and maybe has graphic skills or anything like that. I mean, that's also, that was another one we were looking for. Yeah, please let Chris know.
Yeah.
Because February is coming up and that's going to be, that the board's going to be a little light.
And we only really have one more meeting before then.
That's correct. We have a January meeting. That being said, with all this stuff, I do think we should have another separate breakout meeting about the sponsorships in general in the next week or two, if possible, for anyone who wants to attend, and maybe we can do a doodle poll or something to find out availabilities. I think it's, for those who want to attend, I think it's great to flesh this out a little bit more, and then also talk about potential targets, like I mentioned, like who, I'm thinking like BMI off the top of my head. We have a friend in Jeff Syracuse. I think there might be some kind of music show or maybe not awards, but some kind of like, singer-songwriter thing that they want to get behind. We talked about things like Mars and Nissan and some other local companies, some bigger companies, but also some mid-tier ones that might have, either have content on hand or, or just want to help us out and start funding. So
chime in there too. I had a conversation on the phone with Big Fella last week. And I don't want to pitch his idea basically, but I had told him, like, I thought it would be good to have a cooking show. He, of course, did a cooking show in the past, which is fantastic. And I talked to him about maybe going after Whole Foods and Amazon in general, just because they're in town right now and spending money. He reached out to someone he knew who he thought would be a promising lead. He had some ideas on that. I know he was talking about that this week. I'm not sure exactly what happened where he can't be at the meeting today, but he's someone we should definitely make sure gets into that breakout meeting so he can pitch his idea, and we can go from there, because I do think that, again, finding sponsorships like that is huge, because Amazon, of course, is spending money in town trying to support local causes, and whenever they have a grocery store and you're trying to make a cooking show, that just kind of makes sense. So
Agreed. Any other comments from anybody, or questions or suggestions? No, great. That was pretty much it for me on group discussion, unless anyone else had anything. This is kind of an open forum at this point. I think we went over the financials earlier. We can drill a little deeper if you need to. But again, very, very hopeful that we'll get some money from the discretionary grant from Community Foundation. The minute the applications become available for the CARES Act for the arts, the funding that I mentioned, we'll get working on that and get that in front of everybody to get that hopefully out the door as soon as it can. Again, not certain on when that disbursement would happen, but again, I think if any of them, that is right in our wheelhouse for what we do. All our the Community Foundation Giving Matters site is up to date, so I mean everything is right in our wheelhouse for us to get this out the door. We just got to figure out what they're looking for. And I think that's it, unless anyone has any other topics they want to bring up. No? All right, then if there's nothing else, I will look to have this meeting adjourned and thank everybody for their participation. Really excited about our new positions, both chair-elect and secretary, and looking forward to next year. You guys taking this to a new level, and I wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving. And with that,
You too. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
take care, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving, you all. Bye.
Hi, y'all. Happy Thanksgiving.